Most people think social value is determined by money, looks, status, or popularity. But what if I told you there's one psychological habit that quietly destroys your social value, even if you're intelligent, hardworking, and genuinely kind? And the scary part, most people do it every single day without realizing it. In fact, you might be doing it right now. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why some people naturally command respect when they walk into a room, while others get overlooked, ignored, or taken for granted. More importantly, you'll learn how to stop this hidden habit before it silently damages your relationships, confidence, and reputation. And stick around until the end, because I'm going to reveal a simple mental shift that instantly changes how people perceive you. Let's dive in. The habit nobody talks about. The psychological habit that secretly lowers your social value is this: constantly seeking validation from other people. Not occasionally. Not when you genuinely need feedback. I'm talking about making other people's approval the foundation of your self-worth. This habit can show up in surprisingly subtle ways. Maybe you constantly explain your decisions. Maybe you over-apologize. Maybe you need reassurance before taking action. Or maybe you adjust your personality depending on who's around. At first glance, these behaviors seem harmless. Sometimes they even look polite. But beneath the surface, they communicate something powerful. They signal uncertainty. And in social psychology, uncertainty often gets interpreted as lower status. Now, this doesn't mean you should become arrogant or stop caring about others. But here's where things get interesting. The more desperately you need approval, the less valuable you appear. Why validation seeking lowers social value? Think about a luxury brand. Have you ever seen a luxury company begging customers to buy their products? Probably not. High-value brands don't chase attention, they attract it. Human psychology works similarly. When someone constantly seeks validation, they unconsciously communicate that they don't fully trust their own judgment. People pick up on this, not consciously, but emotionally. The brain is always evaluating confidence signals, and confidence is often associated with competence, leadership, and social status. When you repeatedly ask others to confirm your worth, you're indirectly telling them you're unsure about it yourself. And this is where most people make a mistake. They believe validation creates confidence. In reality, confidence creates validation, not the other way around. The people-pleasing trap. One of the biggest signs of low social value is chronic people-pleasing. Now, being kind is valuable, being considerate is valuable, but sacrificing your needs just to avoid disappointing others is something completely different. Imagine two people. The first person respectfully says no when necessary. The second agrees to everything, even when they're exhausted. Who do you think earns more respect over time? Most people assume the overly helpful person will be appreciated more, but often the opposite happens. Why? Because boundaries communicate self-respect, and self-respect influences how people perceive you. When you constantly put everyone else's needs above your own, you unintentionally teach people that your priorities matter less. And eventually, they start believing it. The hidden cost of over-explaining. Have you ever noticed yourself giving a 5-minute explanation for a simple decision? Maybe you declined an invitation. Maybe you changed your mind. Maybe you chose a different career path. Yet instead of stating your choice confidently, you launch into a detailed defense. This is another subtle validation-seeking behavior. You're not simply communicating, you're asking for permission, and people can feel the difference. High-value behavior doesn't require constant justification. That doesn't mean being rude. It means trusting that your decisions don't need universal approval. Now, this next part might surprise you. The more you explain yourself unnecessarily, the more others start questioning your decisions too. Because your behavior signals that even you aren't fully convinced. How social psychology shapes respect. One of the most fascinating principles in social psychology is something called social proof. People often look to others to determine value, but they also look at how you treat yourself. If you consistently act as though your opinions matter, others are more likely to value them. If you constantly doubt yourself, others may unconsciously do the same. Think of confidence and social skills like a mirror. The image people see often reflects what you project. This doesn't mean pretending. Fake confidence rarely works long-term. Instead, it's about developing genuine self-trust. the kind that doesn't crumble when someone disagrees with you. Because disagreement isn't rejection. And that's a lesson many people never learn. Why high-value people don't need everyone to like them. Here's a truth that can completely transform your social status. The most respected people are not universally liked. Read that again. They are not universally liked. They simply accept that not everyone will approve of them. And because they accept it, they stop chasing it. Ironically, that makes them more attractive socially. When someone is comfortable being themselves, people sense authenticity, and authenticity builds trust. Imagine meeting someone who constantly changes opinions depending on the group. Now compare that to someone who remains consistent. Who feels more trustworthy? Exactly. High-value people understand that respect is often more important than approval. The confidence paradox: most people think confidence comes after success, but confidence often comes before it. Consider learning to drive, starting a business, speaking in public, making new friends. You don't begin confident, you begin uncertain. Confidence develops through action, yet validation seekers often wait for reassurance before acting. They want guarantees, they want certainty, they want permission. The problem? Life rarely provides any of those things, so they remain stuck. Meanwhile, others move forward despite uncertainty. And because they take action, their confidence grows. This is the confidence paradox. You don't act because you're confident. You become confident because you act. The mental shift that changes everything. Remember the promise I made at the beginning. Here's the shift. Stop asking, what do people think about me? And start asking, what do I think about myself? That single question changes everything. Because the moment your self-worth becomes internally generated instead of externally borrowed, your social value begins to rise naturally. You're no longer performing for approval. You're simply expressing who you are. And people notice, not because you're trying harder, but because you're finally acting from a place of certainty. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a skill, a practice, a mindset you strengthen daily. How to build genuine social value. Let's make this practical. Starting today, pause before seeking reassurance. Make small decisions independently. Stop apologizing for things that don't require an apology. Set one healthy boundary. Express one honest opinion. Trust one personal judgment. These actions seem tiny, but over time they reshape your identity. And identity shapes behavior. Behavior shapes perception. Perception shapes social value. The goal isn't to become dominant. It's not to become cold. It's not to become self-centered. The goal is simple. Develop enough self-respect that your value no longer depends on constant approval from others. And that's where true confidence begins. So remember the hidden habit we talked about at the start. Seeking validation feels like it should increase your social value, but it often does the opposite. The moment you stop chasing approval and start building genuine self-respect, people begin responding to you differently. Because you're responding to yourself differently first. If this video helped you understand the psychology of respect and how social value really works, you'll love the next video where we break down the subtle behaviors that instantly make people trust and admire you. If you found value here, hit like, subscribe, and join us for more insights that can completely change how you see yourself and the world around you.